Long ago, all the best battle scenes lived in harmony as part of one great narrative. But everything changed when we decided to rank them. Just because we all live in harmony doesn't mean we can't have a little conflict. Plus, Avatar has so many great fight scenes, it would be remiss not to delve into them. And before we pick up any arms, we want to make something clear. Every entry on this list is considered great. We just want to see which ones really made us yell with excitement, cheer in anticipation, and maybe shed a few tough tears or two when things got emotional. Or maybe 3. Anyway, on to the list. May the best battle win. Yeah, it's kinda strange to start with a partially non-bending battle for an Avatar countdown, but bear with me. Our hero, Aang, is captured and in enemy territory, and the only person who can save him is this mysterious outlaw. In a world where elemental battles are the norm, it's cool to watch an expert swordsman help to save the day. The teamwork and uses of the environment are fun, as well as seeing some of Aang's creativity at work. And we give it a big thumbs up for showing us that Zuko isn't so bad after all. This one's on the lower end, since the majority of the battle is showcasing the escape rather than the battle technique specifically. Regardless, it sets the stage for more cooperation between the exiled prince and the young Avatar. There's a possibility for friendship and growth, even if Zuko wasn't quite ready for it at the time. Avatar Aang needed an earthbending mentor, and who better to do so than the champion of the earthbending arena, even if that champion is a tiny, blind young girl. Despite her assumed frailty by her family, Toph is one of the toughest of Team Avatar. Miss Beifong would be a pioneer and master of the art of earthbending, developing the techniques for metal bending, something that would be further expanded on by her children. This fight is one of the largest displays of earthbending we had seen in the show at that point, giving us more and more insight into the potential of this new element. The polar opposite of Aang, and a huge hurdle for him to overcome with the help of an amazing teacher. We salute you, Toph Beifong. All hail the Melon Lord. Avatar did a great job at making us root for the main antagonist. Zuko had a tragic history and needed some redemption. Going up against another firebender in a duel when the man has so much more experience is not the wisest decision. But this is a good cornerstone for the young prince's developing relationship with his uncle. His uncle's advice ends up saving the day. The basics are sometimes truly what you need. A good Karate Kid style lesson from Iroh to his nephew. No worries, Zuko, there are many more where that came from. Master Pakku had it coming. Let's be real, despite the fact that this old waterbender did win the physical fight, Katara won on a bigger stage. She made him rethink his assumptions. She proved she was talented, and his overconfidence was taken down a peg. This is a great fight that shows Katara truly in her element, working with water in a multitude of forms. After denying her as a student due to her being a girl and refusing to train Aang when he wished to share his knowledge with Katara, Master Pakku had everyone's blood boiling. Seeing Katara hurl attack after attack was a great payback, and this fight would indeed have a lasting impact on Water Tribe culture. There are so many great warrior women in the Avatar universe, and Katara helped ensure future generations of them would get the training they deserve. Iroh is the peaceful, tea-loving uncle that we all wish we had. Always there with a warm smile, a bit of wisdom, and a relaxing game of Pai Sho. This is why it's so easy to forget that he was a general in the Fire Nation's army, and a good one at that. Of course, his firebending had to be top-notch. So yeah, even in his old age, he can perform amazing feats of firebending. But the cherry on top is how truly unexpected it was to see him straight up breathe fire. The Dai Li are meant to be masterful at apprehending outlaws of all sorts, but approaching a man who has flames shooting from his mouth, even the more hardened soldiers may have been a bit spooked. One against many, and he still comes out on top. This is an episode that can still give you the creeps even now. The premise is terrifying. Bending elements that differ from your base skill but have aspects. Lightning, lava, metal, there have been a few now. But few are as unsettling as blood bending. Being able to move the liquids inside a human body to control their movements? Yeah, this fight is creepy and cool as Hama drags around Sokka and Aang as human shields. And Katara does everything in her power to stop the old waterbender. The battle is even more difficult as the waterbenders are at the height of their power thanks to the full moon. The scariest part of the episode is, in the end, Hama won. She wanted to pass down her technique of bloodbending, and unfortunately, Katara had to learn it to defeat her. Sokka is much more talented than he usually gets credit for. He is pretty smart despite his goofy demeanor, and he took it upon himself to learn on their travels. Hey, if the rest of the team is developing their bending, why can't he learn a thing or two that's not his trusty boomerang? This world has developed a good amount of fighting styles that aren't based around elements and special abilities. With the amount that he supports the rest of Team Aang, it's just right that he finds a mentor and expands his skill set right along with everyone else. This duel is a culmination of what Sokka has learned. He's proving to himself that he can accomplish great things. It's also nice to see a Fire Nation warrior not conform to the opinions and prejudices that flood the rest of the nation. Also, Meteor Sword. Enough said. This battle is a huge change in scale for the fights we had seen before. This is one of our first active siege battles and reminds us that war is still happening, very much so. Aang fuses with the Moon Spirit and takes down the Fire Nation's naval forces, tossing around warships like little toys. Kaiju Fights of Avatar Part 1. Don't worry, we have another. Bonus points for having a pretty good recreation with the Ember Island players. Ah yeah, the magic of theater. Anyway, moving on. Airbender fights aren't the most common occurrence. Firstly, the whole pacifist nature thing. Secondly, the lack of airbenders. But when the Red Lotus endangers Korra and everyone within the Air Temple, Tenzin does what he must to protect his family and his home. Despite Zaheer's phenomenal strength and natural talent, he does not retain the upper hand against a true master of the art, the son of the former Avatar. The protector of their culture and legacy. The tide is turned when Pali intervened, which, to be honest, is not fair. Facing down a group of Master Benders alone is a tough ask, even for Tenzin. But the grueling duel before then is amazing, showing more offensive forms of airbending that we usually don't see. So thanks Zaheer for that, I guess. The Red Lotus just provided really cool fights, okay? They are master benders with very unique styles. There's even a combustion bender on the team. Hard to counter against styles you aren't familiar with, and aside from the Avatar, not much rarer than a combustion bender. Aside from the high-flying action of high-level bending and their wonderful teamwork, all having fought with their respective teammates for a good long while, we get to see a new bending technique come to fruition, lava bending. Whether you think this is more related to fire bending or water bending is really up to you, but it's still really cool either way. Or hot, actually. Pretty hot. The culmination of a journey. Aang fights the Fire Lord in a battle for conquest or balance. Which one reigns supreme? The build-up to this fight was an entire series worth of growth and lessons. The biggest question that came with this fight was, would Aang have to kill the Fire Lord, now the Phoenix King, in order to stop him? Something that was so against everything the young Avatar believed in. So their battle was a clash of powerful bending, with Ozai being even stronger thanks to the comet. Aang had to bring every skill he had learned in his comparatively shorter bending experience to this fight with a master firebender at his most powerful. And in the end, Aang stays true to himself while still saving the world. And hey, that's pretty great. The tension of Korra and Zaheer's battle is enough to really place it high in this list. This fight had the potential to end the Avatar cycle once and for all, and Zaheer got so very close to succeeding. Korra was fighting in a forced Avatar state thanks to a poison wreaking havoc on her system. But the one perk of the Avatar state is we get to see some cool bending. Also, seeing Zaheer a bit more thrown off after he threatened many great characters, a good bit of revenge there. This one is a fight to strap in for. Do it. Just do it. And here's part 2 of Avatar Kaiju fights. This battle is also a 2-in-1. Korra faces off against Unalaq, her uncle, as he becomes the dark counterpart to the Avatar. This is the closest we can get to a true battle between avatars thanks to their increased spiritual power, though Unalaq only has mastery over waterbending. Their duel is tough, but the first half ends in tragedy as Rava is destroyed, severing Korra's connection to her past lives and removing her full Avatar powers. But that was just round 1. Next step is for a giant spirit form Korra to take on the monstrous dark spirit fusion in a much more physical duel. Some bending and extra magic energy is tossed around, but Korra proves why she is the Avatar with extraordinary combat skills and determination, Rava or no Rava. Plus, using Unalaq's own technique against him is just so very nice. Sometimes mythical fights of epic proportions just seem cooler than others, but the battle that originated the Avatar cycle deserves a mention, and not just for the impact it had on the universe, but for the beautiful scene that it is overall. The scene between Avatar 1 and Vaatu stands out immediately, having a bit more of a stylized animation for the bending elements, cementing the legendary feel of the fight. We see Wan struggle against this very powerful spirit in a fight he had no hope of winning alone, yet he tried as best he could to protect the balance. The addition of Rava into the mix led to a delightful showcase of elemental bending and whatever that dark energy Vaatu uses is called. Dark bending, shadow bending, either way. The music, the tension, and the stakes are all at incredible levels, making this scene one of the best in the world of Avatar so far. Come on, you had to have seen this coming from a mile away. The fight between Azula, Zuko, and Katara is incredible. The emotion, the stakes, the finality, and the sweet catharsis when Azula gets her just desserts. Zuko finally is evenly matched with his prodigy sister and can keep up with her incredible bending. And Azula is seeing that her reign is coming to an end. She no longer holds all the cards. Just think of Zuko's noble defense of Katara, someone who had been an enemy for so long, and the two worked hard to develop that new trust. And finally, Katara being able to hold her own and finally defeat the princess of the Fire Nation. The blasts of blue and orange streaking over the city, the fast action and tense scenes, man, this scene is great. This is firebending at some of its most powerful, thanks to that extra charge from Sozin's comment. And I can't get the screams of blue fire that erupts from Azula's mouth as she's defeated out of my head. It's our ranking. We couldn't get to every great fight scene since the Avatar universe has so many incredible battles, but you get the gist of it. Now I'm just thinking of the fights we didn't see. I mean, I've always wondered what would happen if Aang and Korra had to fight each other. Now that would be an epic battle for the ages.